Welcome to another edition of the Craig Carton Show. Good to have you here. Happy Friday. Happy Halloween. We're all festive. We got it done here. Tyrone A. Johnson over there, one of the Ghostbusters today.
That's right.
Like to see it. Sneakers matching. Good luck for you.
Well, I appreciate that.
That's a very good look.
Happy Halloween,
yeah.
everybody.
Happy Halloween to everyone. A little trick-or-treating tonight. I'm all pumped up. For me at this stage of my life, it's a fire pit. It's a hot toddy or 4 or 5 waiting for the kids to come on by.
That's nice.
it. Sitting outside by myself. Just you get a candy, you get a candy, you get a candy. And I'm all about the big extra large candy bars. I don't give out the garbage. I don't give out the apples. I don't give out the little bite-sized pieces of Nestle Crunch. Or no. You come to the Carton Crib and you are getting extra large, 3-foot-long Milky Ways. Three Musketeer bars.
What about you? Got the Reese's in the mix?
I got tons of Reese's.
Okay.
Reese's, I know, is very popular candy.
Yeah.
I got it all. So just swing by my crib, and I promise you 3-foot-long candy bars for everybody that comes by. And by the way, bring your hot moms with you. I hope there's a bunch of hot moms in my neighborhood dressed up like Sydney Sweeney swinging by for the 3-foot-long candy bar. Anyway, I love Halloween. Look, Baltimore Ravens obviously beat a bad Miami Dolphin team. Might be the last time we see Mike McDaniel. They've got the extra 3 days to figure that out and maybe make a change. It's a change for change's sake, but they need new leadership in Miami. Mike McDaniel has been an utter failure after the first 2 years, which looked really promising and good. Over 500, making a couple playoff runs. Maybe he is the guy that gets the best out of Tua. But, he's gone from like a really cool, quirky, competent, offensive guru who was going to be the next great coach to lead the Miami Dolphins to the promised land. And now he's just become like a stuttering, buttering, I hate to use this word, but like idiot?
Kind of.
Is that the right word?
Kind of.
It's like he's trying out for Dumb and Dumber 4 is what it's like. Here's a little sample, and we put it together to condense it for you. Full disclosure on that. But these are the highlights of Mike McDaniel after a whopping 6 points on offense in last night's loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Check this out.
But the it's pretty simple. And generally it's a bad omen to be. I think,
you get the point. A lot of ums and ahs and pauses. So he's done. But here's the beauty: we are watching. I don't know if you guys ever read the Bible or not. I know you're a heathen. You probably haven't. But we are watching the rising of Lazarus.
Okay.
Lazarus has risen from the dead. And Lazarus, in this case, for you non-Bible readers or Torah readers, Lazarus is the Baltimore Ravens. Because the Baltimore Ravens are going to wake up on Monday morning and be one game out of first place. The Pittsburgh Steelers play the best team in the AFC right now, the Indianapolis Colts, and they're underdogged at home against a team with only one loss. So just play it out based on expectation.
All right.
Would it shock me if Pittsburgh wins? No, but play out the expectation for me, okay? So Pittsburgh loses. The Ravens have already won. There's now one loss that separates the Pittsburgh Steelers, currently in first place, and the Baltimore Ravens. And as we went through yesterday, the Ravens' schedule is not the most difficult schedule. Plus, they still get the Steelers twice this year, coming up in just a little bit. The Bengals are not a threat, between Joe Flacco and Jacob Browning, because Burrow's not going to be ready for at least another month, if that, right?
Right.
So the Bengals aren't a threat. The Browns stink, one of the worst offenses in football. I don't think you can talk about that division and not accept the reality that the Baltimore Ravens are going to win that division, which brings me back to what I said yesterday. When they do that, and this is like a pet peeve of mine. So if you're tired of hearing it, just tell me to shut up, and I'll move along, and I'll talk to myself on my way home, okay? If we're really going to find an MVP of the league, and the V in MVP is the most important letter, valuable, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So if we agree that we're not looking necessarily for the guy who had the best stats, which is one way to do it, and I'm sure they've done it before like that, which individual player is clearly, demonstrably, and tangibly, and statistically the most, what's the word?
Valuable.
Thank you, Tyrone. The most valuable. No Lamar Jackson. The Ravens are 2-5. If they get to 11 or 12 wins, which I think is on the table for them, how could you argue against his value for the Ravens in compared to the value of everybody else? I don't think you can.
Now, so far this season, when he has started, he's under 500 right now. He's 2-3 in his start.
Worst defense in the sport, but go ahead.
No, but that's part of it. That defense is still that defense.
Therefore, the defense is starting to get better at the same time he's coming back.
Better. Kyle Hamilton getting healthy. They're playing him a little bit different. He's a very good safety, so we'll see. But he's still under 500 right now. How can you say MVP? Project that far when currently he's under 500.
I want to put in everyone's minds now because I know what's going to happen. In late December, we're going to start talking about who's the front runner for MVP. And everyone's going to tell you, well, it's Patrick Mahomes because look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They're back. They won 13 games, whatever it is, right?
They had injuries this year as well.
Not really.
Suspensions.
Not really.
Receiver.
But I know what's going to happen. All the stands are going to come out and it's going to be, Patrick Mahomes, MVP. And he's going to be a worthy candidate. I'm not suggesting the Chiefs could win without him. I know for a fact that they can. And then we're going to hear a lot about, what Danny Jones is doing in Indianapolis.
Yep, Indiana Jones.
Rightfully so. He will be comeback player of the year. He's already got that locked up. And if they go 14-3 or something like that, how do you not talk about Danny Jones? And I could make the argument, as you would, I think together we'd be on the same page, that if Anthony Richardson was the Colts quarterback, they would not be this good.
Absolutely.
So if you want to tell me I'm not voting for Lamar because I'm voting for Danny Jones, you get no quarrel from me. I'm just saying, and I'll be the first in the country to say it, keep an eyeball or two on the status of the Ravens as they make what I think is going to be a guaranteed run to win the division title and, of course, make a run deep into the playoffs. I think they're about to do something that has never been done in the history of football, and that is start off at 1-5, which they did, and not only make the playoffs, but make the Super Bowl. I think that is on the table. And
Super Bowl?
What did I say?
Super Bowl, you said.
I said it, yeah.
So they're playing in February.
I believe that the Baltimore Ravens will be representing the AFC in this year's Super Bowl.
This year's.
There's a chance they don't lose another game. That's how bullish I am on the return of Lamar Jackson to playing quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. And speaking of that, we got time here.
We got time.
We got 10 seconds or 2 minutes.
You got minutes. All right,
great.
Minutes.
So here's the other rub on that. The biggest game this week was not last night, okay? The biggest game this week is coming up at 4:25 on Sunday, Marathon Sunday here in New York City. But the biggest game of the week is the one we've always expected to see in January, right? Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, in Orchard Park. Josh Allen has had some success against Kansas City. Obviously got screwed in the final 13 seconds of a game in the playoffs, a number of years ago. But I would just say this, because I'm very bullish on the Ravens. If Josh Allen, and it's on him, he's the guy, and he does not have the greatest supporting cast. He makes more with less than any other quarterback in football. But if the Kansas City Chiefs go into Buffalo, as they've done before, and they beat the Buffalo Bills, and we'll get into this more next segment, can we all agree it's time to blow the Bills up? That this version of the Buffalo Bills, relying on Josh Allen to have to work his magic with very poor wide receivers and a good, decent running attack and an average defense, will we finally admit that this version of the Bills will never win a Super Bowl? Because the games in their building, they're coming off their best offense performance in over a month, albeit against a bad team, in my opinion, last week. They lost back-to-back games, and while no one was paying attention, here come the New England Patriots to regain control, as they did for 20 years, of the AFC East. They're in first place right now, not the Buffalo Bills. This is a must-win game for the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Because if you can't beat the Chiefs in your building in October of 2025, then it's a wrap. The Chiefs will always own you. More on that coming up in just a bit. Here on The Carton Show. Happy Halloween, everybody. All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Great to have you here, Tyrone Johnson. I was just noticing during the break. I know we don't have the ability to zoom in or out, but maybe one of these camera shots can give it to you. I think it's great that we have a Halloween-themed, background, as we should. Yeah. And you're dressed up like the Black Ghostbuster.
That's right.
Which I think is great. My head's a pumpkin? Is that what we're saying?
Well, now that you brought it up.
It would appear that what the producers of the show are saying to me and the creative people is that you can just replace my bald, beautiful, round head with a pumpkin.
Yeah. They are confirming that in my ear. They're confirming that.
All right, so that's it. We got that right?
Yeah. Somebody out there did call you a pumpkinhead out there before. Who's that pumpkinhead in there? That did happen. So,
I'm the pumpkinhead, Charlie Brown. Just don't call me Caillou, and I'm good with it. You can call me anything but Caillou.
That whiny bastard. Anyway, we don't have time for this.
That whiny French bastard.
I can't stand him. Enough with that
he was
kid.
banned from my house when my kids were growing up.
Good.
All that kid did was whine and complain.
Just complain all the time. You don't have nothing in you. Where are your parents? All this complaining.
I agree. All right, let's look. Bills Chiefs obviously game of the weekend.
Yes.
And with the Ravens winning yesterday, I think, look, neither team's going to feel the pressure yet. They're not in the same division, so all good. But I think the press has started. I think if you look at records and you look at schedules, the Chiefs already have 3 losses, right? So the reality is that if they lose to the Bills this weekend, that's a 4th loss, meaning only a game better than the Baltimore Ravens. I'm playing this out for potential wild card spots, obviously, and potential playoff matchups. But I keep thinking about Michael Jordan in the mid-'90s against my beloved New York Knicks.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks had a championship roster. They did, and the best defense in all of basketball. But they had a bugaboo there. They had a boogeyman, right? And that boogeyman wasn't John Wick, but it might as well have been. It was Michael Jordan. We can't get past Michael Jordan. And that became an issue where when Michael Jordan left to go play baseball, for whatever the reasons might truly have been, all of a sudden, what did the Knicks do? They went to an NBA final.
Yep.
They didn't win it, but they got out of the East, right?
They did.
So I really view the Kansas City Chiefs and obviously Patrick Mahomes as the same exact scenario for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have what we would all agree, a championship Super Bowl caliber quarterback. No one's going to argue that, right? You're with me?
No, I wouldn't argue that.
But the reality is that as great as Josh Allen is, and he is on everybody's Mount Rushmore of current quarterbacks, he cannot defeat Patrick Mahomes in the biggest spots. And he hasn't.
He has not.
Right? You had a playoff game at home a couple years ago, and you couldn't beat Patrick Mahomes. You went to Arrowhead, played great, but couldn't beat Patrick Mahomes. Which is why I think in this particular year, when the Chiefs have more losses, 3, than they've had at any stage of this same stage of the season, historically with Patrick Mahomes there's blood in the water. Somebody else is going to have a chance to represent the AFC in this year's Super Bowl. Now, I'll be fair. The Chiefs right now look like they're playing lights out ball, and their offense is clicking again. So it very well could be the Kansas City Chiefs, but they are clearly a beatable team. They no longer win 1-score games and haven't this year. Go look at their wins. They're blowout wins, right?
They're smoking teams when they win.
They are blowout wins, 1-score games, 0-3, okay? So the reality to me now is if the Bills can't beat the Kansas City Chiefs in their own building with potentially home field advantage riding on the outcome, and the notion that if we can't beat the Chiefs in our own building in October, how the heck are we going to beat them on the road or even at home in January? I think Chiefs fans are right about this. I think they're rightful to have a level of cockiness when it comes to the Buffalo Bills and the Baltimore Ravens for that matter, because they know that they don't lose to those specific teams in the postseason. They haven't.
They haven't.
Right? So to me, this game has to be viewed right now as a must-win game for the Buffalo Bills.
We have some breaking news.
Oh, go ahead.
The Dolphins have just fired GM Chris Grier. You've been calling for it.
Yes.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but we got breaking news. Chris Grier, Miami Dolphins longtime GM, somehow out.
Well, that means that Mike McDaniel is going to survive it.
That's what it means.
Because if you didn't fire them both right now, that means that Mike McDaniel's not getting fired this year. And Stephen Ross, for the first time, and it feels like Grier's been there 15 years, maybe longer.
Like. Right, long time.
That he's finally willing to accept the fact that you have not even arguably the least successful, biggest failure in the history of the sport at general manager. And let me be clear about this. The Miami Dolphins have not won a playoff game this century. And Chris Grier has been the general manager for the majority of this century for the Miami Dolphins. So what the Dolphins are now saying to you is that we finally are willing to come to terms with the fact that we don't have the right general manager. We might have the right coach. That's debatable. He had 2 good years. He's now had 2 bad years, right?
Right.
But we recognize finally that we got to find somebody else to go decide who's going to be on this roster. Now, remember, before Mike Tannenbaum was the guy, right? Remember, was a consultant,
yes,
and then got the job. I think he was president, and he co-shared responsibilities with Chris Grier. So I'm not sure who made the final decision there. I'd have to check in with my Dolphin people and find out. But this is a good day for Miami Dolphin fans.
It is.
If you're a long-suffering Dolphins fan, one of the gripes you have all had universally that no one has ever been able to argue against is the fact that Chris Grier is a lousy general manager and has never built a team worthy of making a run to a Super Bowl. Never. Either the defense has stunk, we didn't have a running back, obviously, and now we have a quarterback there we gave $250 million to who may not be able to play that well. Right? So I can't read that, but what does that say on the screen?
It's about just that they mutually agreed to part ways.
In other words,
how they're wording it.
We're going to fire you. Do you want to maintain some self-respect and make it a mutual decision?
Right.
Because one employee goes, hey, you know what? I think you should fire me. I'm not getting the job done. I want to do what's best for the organization. And that's not how it works.
Ever.
The owner comes through and says, look, I love you. I appreciate you. It clearly just hasn't worked out. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to fire you, but we're going to give you a chance to save some face and decide it was mutual, and you're willing to step down for the betterment of the Miami Dolphin franchise, right?
Your team
he got fired.
Yeah.
And by the way, he should have been fired 10 years ago. He should have been fired 5 years ago. He should have been fired during the Brian Flores nonsense when all that stuff went down about who the quarterback was going to be and Brian Flores' treatment of Tua because he didn't respect him as a QB. Today's a great day for the Miami Dolphins. They're finally going to get a good GM in there, and that means they're going to start winning some games. Hi, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. If you're just tuning in, breaking news. The Miami Dolphins have fired Chris Grier. Been with the team since 2000, been the official GM since 2016, but has had a voice in the room for the entire century, and they have 0 playoff wins since Chris Grier became employed by the Miami Dolphins. So good news today. If you're a Miami Dolphin fan, you got rid of the cancer that has been the primal cause for the Dolphins' lack of success for 25 years. That's how long it's been. 25 years without a playoff win, and Chris Grier is a part of that organization for all 25. I know Dolphins fans right now celebrating. They got the Manischewitz, they got the Old English, whatever it is that you drink down in Miami. They're shaking up, spraying on each other, and today's a great day. A great day to be a Dolphin fan. Meanwhile, I'll just show you the juxtaposition if I can. Because we were talking about the Bills and Chiefs coming up and how the Bills have to overcome the Chiefs at some point for anybody to believe that they're ever going to crack the Super Bowl, right? So this is the 8th year that Sean McDermott has been the head coach of the Bills with Josh Allen as his quarterback, correct?
Yes.
So in 8 years together, they have never made it to a Super Bowl. And how many AFC championship games have they made it to? At least one.
At least one.
Right?
Yeah.
Was there a second one in there? I think one. But you guys
they made it to 2.
2 AFC championship games.
2020 and last year.
Okay, so 2 AFC championship games and no Super Bowl appearances,
No Super
right?
Bowl appearances.
Now, look, they've had great success, and to Sean McDermott's credit, he turned around the Bills franchise post-Rex Ryan. That was terrible. Like, the Buffalo Bills stunk for over a decade.
Right.
And then here comes Sean McDermott. They draft the right quarterback. They got lucky there. Josh Allen's a rock star. And all of a sudden, their fortunes change, right? But not good enough to get to a Super Bowl. So again, he's one of these guys like John Harbaugh, who has won a Super Bowl, and he's the all-time winningest coach in Ravens history. But at what point, and this is a strange thing, especially from a guy that roots for a team that never wins in the Jets. I look at a team like the Bills, I'm jealous, I'm envious. Look at the Patriots, I'm envious. I look at good, winning, competent franchises, and I'm envious. But if you're a fan of one of those teams that has been really good for a long period of time, but not good enough to get to a win a Super Bowl, you get tired of the 11-win seasons, one playoff win, early exit, not good enough to beat Mahomes, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So there's really, it's a haves and have-nots in the NFL. Guys like me would sign up today for 8 years of guaranteed playoff football and never getting to a Super Bowl. But if you've lived it, you're pissed about it because you know you got the right quarterback to go win a Super Bowl. So while Mike McDaniel keeps his job and John Harbaugh is clearly going to keep his job as well, at what point do Bills fans say, if we haven't done it through 8 years and it doesn't look like we're going to do it in year 9, why would you think we're going to do it in year 10 or 11 or 12? Like, you're getting Josh Allen in his prime.
Oh, yeah.
And you've had a great run. I want to be clear about it. Sean McDermott turned the Bills around when Josh Allen showed up. He gets all the credit for that. But if I'm a Bills fan, at some point, I want a coach who is going to get me to a Super Bowl. Now, from the outside looking in, if you're a Jet fan or a Dolphin fan, I'm using them because it's the same division, I would sign up today for the last 8 years of Bills football.
Yeah, to add on to that, since Josh Allen has become the starter with them, they're 81-36. So as a Jets fan, you would sign for it.
Dude, in a minute, and if you told me that means you're not winning a Super Bowl for another 8 years, okay, great.
You haven't won one in 100 years anyway.
I haven't won one in my lifetime. But if you're telling me that I'm in the tournament every year, and I know I'm not going to win it, but I'm in it, and I've got huge playoff games and home games and stuff to rally around, man, I say yes. I know it's a defeatist attitude.
Right.
I'm guaranteeing that I'm not going to win a Super Bowl, but I'm signing up for that right now.
Well, this ended up happening in Philadelphia with actually McDermott. He comes from that tree.
Yeah.
Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb had a bunch of success. They made a Super Bowl, but they never won.
That's right.
At some point, they were like, we got to change the coach or the quarterback, and they parted with McNabb first, and it didn't work out. You're not going to part with Allen.
Right. And think about what Tyrone's saying right there. There was a point in time where the Philadelphia Eagles said, Andy Reid, you can't coach us anymore. Because they got tired of being really good. I think they went to 5 NFC Championship games under his watch.
He did.
Which is crazy.
It's amazing.
And they said, hit the road, Jack.
Right.
So the point is, Buffalo's going to get there.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, if the Buffalo Bills cannot beat Kansas City on Sunday, then they're never going to beat Kansas City. Which means at some point, I got to go find me a new head coach.
Yeah,
right?
You have no choice.
Because you can't treat the people in Buffalo the way Miami treats the people in Miami. At some point, you got to change.
You got the whole thing. What's the goal?
Sounds like a Michael Jackson song.
It is a Michael Jackson song.
Man in the Mirror.
Man in the Mirror.
There you go.
Perhaps that they need to be doing that in Buffalo.
Something like that.
If
Coming
they lose
up,
Sunday.
The NBA scandal is about to get a whole lot bigger. I'll walk you through it. I'll let you decide for yourselves, but it's a really interesting little tidbit that came out that we're going to get into right after this. All right, welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. The NBA scandal is about to get a whole lot bigger, but it's kind of two stories in one. So, Tyrone, I'll let you pick. Do you want to pick story number 1 or story number 2 to start the segment with?
Now, you always go opposite of what I say, so I'm going to go story number 2.
Story number 2 it is. All right. This is a feel-good story, as Halloween is today. LeBron James announced yesterday that he's fulfilling a life's bucket list, his words, not mine, in writing a Halloween book for children.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. The name of the book is Happy Spooky Halloween. I don't know why it's not coming out today, but it's coming out next summer, which I don't quite understand why you'd release a Halloween book for children, either A, not during the school year, B, not in the fall, and C, in the summer, but that's what they decided to do. Okay. I'm sure that was the publisher's idea, not his, but that just doesn't seem smart to me at all. Yeah. You're trying to maximize the sales of it. But we are blessed that the publisher did send us a little excerpt.
Oh, they did?
Now, this is a book written by LeBron.
Okay.
So it's right there in front of your computer. We thought it'd be fun to have Tyrone read to you an excerpt from the LeBron Halloween book called Happy Spooky Halloween. You want to just give us a little taste of what's in the book?
Sure. Here we go. LeBron Halloween.
Yep.
I love Halloween, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So this year I decided to go as the greatest of all time, but the Michael Jordan jersey didn't fit like mine.
That makes sense.
Maybe dress up like Cassius Mr. Muhammad Ali. But if you're going to go as the GOAT, you can't go as me. Mischief Night was the best styling out of the past 7 or 8. Throwing eggs and toilet paper or lying about racist graffiti on my gate.
He admits it? Wait a minute.
Look at me pulling the whole Judy Blume here. What is happening here? What is happening here?
He admits the graffiti story was BS?
Oh,
That's
no.
interesting. All right, go ahead.
Be kind to others and don't take all the candy. Just take one.
Okay.
And thank you to the Lakers for drafting my untalented son.
Wow. Total honesty.
Look at this, Judy Blume. You see, for Bronny, every day is Halloween. He gets to dress up like a basketball player. And anybody who doesn't like that is just mean.
Well, that's true. I agree.
This was my bucket list, creating a book that I could actually read. I hope Maverick Carter has stopped gambling and goes back to getting me my weed.
That's no way he wrote that.
This is in front of me.
No way.
This is from the publisher.
Go ahead.
So trick or treat and smell my feet and give me something good to eat.
Yeah.
Preferably some lobster mac and cheese. From the LeBron book.
That's directly,
oh my goodness.
That's directly from the book. Nice job.
Oh my goodness.
I have no comment on that whatsoever. Happy Halloween, everybody. Here's the deal. So you know about the whole gambling scandal, obviously, at this point, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the key figures in the gambling, alleged gambling scandal, is Damon Jones. Damon Jones, former player, was also on some coaching staffs as well. He's also, I guess, quite famously, one of LeBron's closest friends.
Yes, they are close.
And in 2023, when this alleged gambling scandal took place, one of the things the feds alleged is that he was aware of games that LeBron might not be playing or might be injured, or load management, whatever the case may be, and either wagered on that inside information himself or provided that information to other people to go gamble. And that's what this whole investigation regarding Damon Jones is all about. And it's serious because if you have inside information and you can go out there and make wagers based on inside information, it's a problem, obviously, right? So that's what Damon Jones is accused of. Here's where I think the scandal potentially grows. So the FBI does this thorough multi-year investigation in which they find out that Damon Jones is aware of LeBron's health status and is trading on that information for wagering purposes. Well, there's another story that no one's paying attention to, which would be even bigger than that. And unfortunately, it does involve LeBron. I want to be clear. No one's accusing LeBron of doing anything wrong or untoward. I want to be very clear about that.
And he hasn't been implicated in any of this.
And based on what I've read, nor should he be, okay? It's just that he's one of the biggest players and names in the sport of the last 20 years, so anything that revolves around him becomes a news story, rightfully so.
Yeah.
But here's a story that many of you did not know, because unbelievably, it didn't get the same level of attention that this FBI thing did last week. In 2021, LeBron's longtime personal friend and current business manager, Maverick Carter, was involved in a gambling scandal. He was wagering illegally with a guy named Wayne Nix, who is an illegal sports bookmaker out in California, former minor league baseball player, and I believe he did time and was running an illegal book, kind of like the Shohei Ohtani case, right?
Right.
So that in 2021. An investigation was done, and they brought Maverick Carter in, I think, to the FBI to talk to him about, the gambling he was doing with this illegal bookmaker. Maverick Carter admitted to the feds at the time in 2021 that he made about 20 total wagers, and each wager was between $5,000 and $10,000, okay? When he was asked directly by the feds, did you wager on NBA games and or Laker games? His response in the interview was, I don't remember. That's a lie. Because if you only made 20 wagers and you're making wagers for $5,000 to $10,000, you know exactly what you wagered on. Now, I'm not saying you remember every little itty-bitty nitpicket on these wagers, but you would know 100% if you wagered at all on the NBA. You may not remember if it was $5,000 or $10,000 or some number in between the two.
Right.
But there's no way, as a former gambler, that if you came to me and said, hey, we know you've been gambling with Wayne Nix, this illegal bookmaker, and you admit, yes, I made 20 wagers, and yes, I know the approximate value of those wagers, but not remember the sports you wagered on? That's just not believable, right? So if you remembered that you made 20 bets, if you remember the value of the bets, then for poop sure, you know exactly what team or sport at some point you bet on.
Just to clarify real fast, apparently he admitted to making football and basketball bets. What he said he couldn't remember was placing bets on the Lakers.
Okay.
Just for clarity's sake.
Of
just for
course
clarity's
you
sake.
remember if you bet on the Lakers or the Cowboys or whatever bet you made.
Exactly.
If it's only 20 wagers, and you're now, I missed that part. I apologize for that.
Just for clarity, that was all.
And you did admit that you bet on NBA games. You know what team you bet on.
Absolutely.
So the investigation stopped. They didn't continue to look into him. He admitted that he gambled. I've told you this a million times. It has never been illegal to place the wager. It's illegal to book the wager because of the vig that's involved, which means that if you bet $100 and the bookie gets 110, but you only get 100, the bookie's now broken the law.
Yep.
The guy that makes the wager is not broken the law, unless you're wagering on inside information. That becomes fraud, and that becomes a problem. And I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that he did. What I'm saying is that it's interesting to me that with a much lesser known person in the world, Damon Jones, who they've gone after with all the might of the United States government, and he's screwed right now in the moment, they have Maverick Carter potentially doing the same thing. I no proof of that that's come out in the light, but I'm trying to figure out if you've got the man who's closer to LeBron than any human being on the planet, and he admits to you that he's wagering on sports, and he admits to you that he wagered on NBA basketball games, and when you say to him, but did you bet on Laker games? Because he would know better than anybody else, not just if LeBron's not playing, but if Anthony Davis wasn't playing at the time.
Absolutely.
If anybody on that team might not be playing. And his response is, I don't remember.
Yeah.
There's no way the feds accept that and say, be on your way, have a good day, thanks so much for coming in. And again, I want to be clear. I'm not accusing him of anything. But it seems a little fishy to me that we're going after Damon Jones, and we do have a guy here who's even closer to LeBron than Damon is, and we accept for an answer, I don't remember.
Yeah, come on.
Like,
come on.
I wasn't born yesterday.
Come on.
I don't remember. Now, you could have said no.
Right.
But the problem with saying no is Wayne Nix has your betting slips. So he could have told the feds, yes, he did. So by saying, I don't know, you haven't perjured yourself, you haven't lied to the FBI, and maybe you skedaddle without being in trouble. This is going to get bigger. It is going to get bigger. Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyron Johnson here. He's got picks later on in the show, trying to get back on a 3-0 streak that he had going early this season. So that's coming up in a little bit. Some random news and notes from all over the world of sports that aren't worthy of 10 minutes, but certainly worthy of a minute or two. Yeah, everyone wonders what's it like when you become a rock star quarterback in the NFL?
Yeah.
What are the perks that come along with it?
Yeah.
Well, I've got a visual evidence of the perks that come along with it. If you are Jackson Dart, the new rock star quarterback of the 2-win New York Giants. I mean, they got 2 wins.
Right.
They don't got 3. They've 1 win more than the New York Jets. But that's his girlfriend. They became Instagram official, I guess, and went to a Halloween party together. Her name is, doesn't matter. I think it even matters. Marissa Ayers. I don't know. I'm lost. I have no idea. I don't really care. But yeah, that just shows you what happens when literally you win 2 games. You got 2 wins in the NFL. Girls just come on calling, I suppose. Number 2, this college football head coaching stuff is crazy.
Crazy.
So at LSU, they get rid of Kelly, and now the governor of Louisiana, who apparently has all the votes on the board of LSU as a state university, got the athletic director fired and is now going to have some say in the new AD, obviously, and by proxy. Well, he said, I'm not picking the next head coach.
Yeah.
He's picking the next head coach.
Of course he is.
So I don't remember in my lifetime the governor actually picking a coach. I do remember that in New Jersey, Rutgers is the state university of New Jersey.
Right.
And I do remember when Rutgers was, guffawing all over Coach Schiano, and we're millions of dollars, a house, land, and a lot of other crazy things for a program that's never won a damn thing. I remember former Governor Christie was like, why would we bring him back when they brought him back for a second time? What's the guy ever won? And the answer is nothing. So that's the only time I remember a governor. And I don't think Chris Christie was sitting governor when they brought Schiano back.
He wasn't when they brought him back.
But he had a comment on it because essentially you're a state employee.
Right.
And you become the highest paid employee in the state. So the same thing's going to be the case in Louisiana. Now, it's a little different there in that the boosters and ticket sales and TV deals,
cut in a lot
they
of that
really
money.
pay for the football program,
right.
Not the fine people of Louisiana. But the governor controls the board now, and he will have legitimate say in who the next athletic director is and who the next head coach is, which is really crazy.
And it's one of the steps. They also don't have a university president right now either. So
it's like an interim guy, right?
Yeah, so they don't have a president, an athletic director, or a head coach all at the same time.
I honestly don't care. I just thought it's weird that a sitting governor, and I suppose LSU is very important to the state. I get that college football is a big deal.
It is.
But I don't think the sitting governor should be picking head coaches.
Yeah,
I also don't care.
But I get what you're saying. It's just it's a little messy. It adds to it. It's messy.
Very messy. The other messy thing is there were rumors yesterday that James Franklin, the former head coach of Penn State, who's going to get the job of his choosing more or less because he was very successful without the championship there at Penn State.
He was
rumored to be going to, I think, West Virginia.
It was Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech? That's a step down, no?
It is, but
Michael Vick ain't there no more, right?
Yes, it is, but they have a very aggressive set of boosters that will cut big checks.
You're not winning at Virginia Tech.
You could.
You're not. No, now you could. You can't.
You can.
Like Frank Beamer didn't win at Virginia Tech, right? Like, I mean, let's keep it real. Like, if you're James Franklin, and for the last how many years you were the head coach at Penn State, a power school and a power conference, and a legitimate shot to be eligible for the playoff now that we have a playoff, right?
Right.
And a major, like, New Year's Day bowl game and all that nonsense that comes with it. Are you going to Virginia Tech? Because you're getting paid no matter what. You're making the $8 or $9 million this year, and for the next 7 years, whether you go anywhere or just sit on your ass at home, I wait for something better. And no disrespect to the Hokies and the folks down at Virginia Tech. I'm sure you're good people.
Look quite a bit.
But like Virginia Tech is not Penn State. It ain't Michigan. It's not one of those types of schools.
He's not getting one of those level of jobs.
I think he is.
He's not going to get those level of jobs.
If I'm a Big Ten school that has struggled, and I could go get James Franklin, I'm considering it.
You mean like a school like Purdue? That's the same as Virginia Tech. Maryland, that's worse than Virginia Tech. He may not get a job better than Virginia Tech.
I think we view Virginia Tech with the wrong lens. I think we're using the lens of, the 1980s and 90s. That we're not looking at the lens of Virginia Tech in today's landscape.
Well, we'll see.
Virginia Tech if I'm James Franklin, I ain't going to no Virginia Tech. Tell you that.
I'll tell you.
I'd sooner sit at home, watch my kids run around, and do some fishing with the $8 million I'm getting every year for the next 7 years. I'm only going to a blue blood school. And I promise you, James Franklin won a lot of football games. He couldn't beat top 10 teams, but he won a lot of football games.
He did.
I'm holding out. That's what I'm doing if I'm James Franklin. I am holding out. One other thing I saw. There's a longtime sports talk guy in Cleveland, Ohio. whose name is like Bruce Drevin or something like that. I forget his name.
All right.
But he's a Cleveland people know him very, very well. And he's a very well-connected sports talk shows. Been there for like 50 years. He reported yesterday that before Myles Garrett signed his big deal and extension to stay in Cleveland, that the Dallas Cowboys offered the Cleveland Browns Dak Prescott for Myles Garrett. Let that sink in for a minute. That Dallas, big contract, highest paid guy in the league.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott. Myles Garrett wants the big extension and the money, or really wants to play for a winner. That the Dallas Cowboys offered the Browns, a team without a quarterback, Dak Prescott for Myles Garrett.
Now that's interesting.
Now, I don't know who the Cowboy quarterback would have become.
But that's interesting.
I think a draft pick was included in that.
Yeah.
So maybe you draft one of the kids in the draft this year. But could you imagine if Dak Prescott was the Browns quarterback, but their best defensive player was on the Cowboys? Cowboys could use him.
The Cowboys would use him.
But then they wouldn't have a quarterback.
Then they wouldn't have a quarterback. And then I'm assuming they would have still traded Micah Parsons because I don't think he'd have both.
Maybe not.
But maybe you have both, and quarterbacks have no time.
Now you've got the best defensive line in football.
Yeah.
Or front seven at least, right?
Quarterbacks have no time.
I saw that. And I was surprised that didn't have legs and go because he's a well-respected guy in Cleveland. Has been there forever. Mm-hmm. No joke. Like he was there when I was in Cleveland. He's been there for 50 years and is well-connected. And I saw that online yesterday. I'm like, how is that not a story?
It's a huge
Because
story.
I want to go to the Dallas Cowboys now and ask Jerry Jones, other than Cleveland, if that story's true, how many other teams did you shop Dak Prescott to?
At the end of the day, they don't love him. That's what they're saying.
They pay him like they love him, but I don't know that they really love him.
That's what I mean.
Because they've never won with him,
Right.
right? So if that trade had happened, oh man, that would have changed everything.
Biggest trade in 20 years.
I
30
think
years.
with that top of my head, I can't think of another that would have been close. So those are the other little sports stories that are tickling around. We got Tyrone's picks coming up and a thought on this weekend's action right after this. Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. Tyrone A. Johnson here as well. Play out the story in Cleveland just one more level, right? So if the trade had happened, and the trade that was reported yesterday that was offered was Dak Prescott for Myles Garrett, then Myles gets the big extension. Let's just assume they keep Micah too for the sake of the conversation.
Yeah.
The Cowboys wouldn't have had a quarterback. Well, guess who is available to them that offseason, right?
Yeah.
The guy that would have been available to them was a guy named Aaron Rodgers. Now, you don't think Jerry Jones would have wanted to get in bed with Aaron Rodgers? That deal would have happened like that.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, compared to other quarterbacks, not making more money, right?
No.
What's his thing, 13 mil?
He's making 13 among starting quarterbacks.
Right.
He's the cheapest one that's not on a rookie contract.
So we were this close, and I don't know who said no to the deal. I didn't follow that closely, the report in Cleveland yesterday. The Dallas Cowboys could have had Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons and Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. And while the Steelers aren't killing it right now, sitting there at 4-3, they have the Colts in Pittsburgh, which is one of the marquee games, obviously, this weekend. It's a 1:00 game on CBS. That would have changed, to me, the entire landscape of the NFC.
Absolutely.
Because Aaron Rodgers is playing well. He's not an MVP anymore, but he's playing really good football. If you had Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, it looks like they can run the ball now.
Yeah.
Right? And you had a defense that had Micah and Myles Garrett. The Dallas Cowboys are right there with the Eagles, the Lions, and just them.
Yeah.
Right?
And for people...
Because the Packers wouldn't have Micah, so I'm putting them as a second-tier team.
Yeah, that would hurt them. Now, just for people out there going, oh, the money wouldn't make sense. Yes, it does. Dak Prescott this year is making $60 million. $60 million. If you got Dak's contract off of the books,
right,
that's all that stuff makes sense and it works financially.
I'd love to talk to Jerry Jones about how close that deal came and who said no to it. Yeah. I think Cleveland would have said yes to it.
I think Cleveland would have said yes to it.
The only issue is that the $60 million, they would have had to have redone his contract because of the Deshaun contract still there.
Yeah, you couldn't pay him that.
Man, oh man, the Cowboys were that close to being a dominant team in the NFC. Which brings us to Tyrone A. Johnson's award-winning picks. He's over 500 still. Remember, if you're going to wager, make your own picks. Don't follow anyone else's picks because there's no one on the planet that's better than you, and wager responsibly. And if you lose at 1 o'clock, don't come up with some fugazi bet at 4 or at 8 or a Monday to try to get your money back. Swallow the loss and move on to another week. And with that being said, here is Tyrone A. Johnson's 3-pack of picks.
All right, now here we go. Now it's 2 college and 1 pro because I do not love this slate of NFL games this week, just being honest with you. I start off with one I did not expect to like so much, but Arch Manning's not playing. So we start in Texas at home against Vanderbilt. I like Texas minus the 2.5 with the backup quarterback.
Why isn't Arch Manning playing?
He has a concussion.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully he gets through that.
Concussion is what they're saying.
Okay.
Concussion symptoms. He did not clear protocol in time. So I like Texas minus the 2.5 against Vandy, who's been better all year, yet Texas is favored. Home or not, that doesn't make sense. Texas is going to win the game and cover.
Man, I hope Vanderbilt wins that game by 20.
Why? You just don't
Although there's a part of it that hopes the Texas offense is like, puts out 40.
That's what I'm hoping
just
for.
Just to prove that he's not the guy.
I also believe they have too many good players to keep looking this bad week after week after week.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough.
Second pick in college. This is on coming off a bye and a brand new coach. They have a lot of good players. This is Florida. I like them plus 7.5 versus Georgia. Georgia has not been good this year. Okay. Georgia is highly ranked. Georgia has won the games they needed to win outside of the Alabama game, but they're not vintage Georgia. Florida's roster is almost as good as Georgia's, but they had a coach that stunk. That coach is out of here.
Georgia's superior.
Florida plus 7.5.
Georgia is a superior football team to Florida.
We'll see.
Obviously, we're going to see.
We'll see. But I do not believe that.
There's a reason you're on a losing streak.
No, it's not a reason I'm on a losing streak. I'm 17-6, and all that ridicule.
Yeah.
You know what?
If you had said
that's what bothers me about it.
I don't know what the spread was until you just
7.5.
If you had said to me, Georgia, Florida, what do you think? Yeah. Without me knowing the spread until right now, I would have said 30-10 Georgia.
That's what you would have said.
Yeah.
That's why it's a real pleasure for you to sit with me, a sportsman,
and learn something.
Who can really add on to this.
But on Monday, I'm going to remind you.
You're going to have to.
I'm going to clip this and remind you.
Either way, remind me.
Okay.
And finally,
I will.
In the NFL, I like the Patriots, who I think is a really good football team, minus the 5.5 at home versus the Falcons.
Yeah, this to me is an interesting game with New England. Look, it's already a great season. What are they, 6-2? Right now, and they are in first place, and it's all of a sudden like there's a power shift in the AFC East right now. This is one of those games where you're like, how do they not beat Atlanta? You've got Tampa coming up next, and then the Jets after that. Tampa's the big game. It's on the road, playoff team. How are we against really good teams? I don't think they lose to Atlanta, especially I don't think Penix is playing in this game. But to me, this is a bit of a trap game for New England. If they win this game like they should, then you got to take them seriously as a Super Bowl contender.
Fair enough.
I really believe
Fair
that.
enough.
Have yourselves a great weekend. Don't forget to turn the clocks and all that stuff.
Ball
Enjoy
back.
Halloween. And we'll see you Monday morning at 11 right here again. Have a blessed weekend, and God bless.